All right, everybody, welcome back to the DSN Prospect Pod. We got the whole team together this time again. Like, this is good, guys. We're making progress on this. No, I'm just kidding. I know I'm the only one who's freak and is always somehow available to do any podcast that gets thrown out in the universe for any reason. But no, we're going to do our last divisional mock draft of draft season. We've been doing these throughout the draft process. I think it's been a lot of fun. Granted, the PFF mock draft simulator tries to kill us every single time for some reason. I don't know what we did to that thing, but it's not like us. It likes us to just have to talk about the 12 running backs each team.
I can't wait to see that in a 7-round mock.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be electric for sure. Because, yes, we are doing
like 6 players at the same position.
It'll be 6 quarterbacks go to the same team. No, Browns are just going to take all quarterbacks because it's just going to keep thinking it's a need. No, but as Jake just alluded to, this is a 7-round mock draft, as the title suggests. We've been doing 3, 4. It's like 2 weeks before we're doing 7 rounds. Let's just do it right at this point. But before we jump into that, with the AFC North, the division that, if you couldn't tell from I guess you could assume. Well, that'd be sad if a Seahawks fan wore this, huh? That'd be pretty sad. No, but if you can't tell already, I am a Steelers fan. I got 2 Raiders fans with me, so they're probably not exactly thrilled to try to help my team. We have a little bit of a weird history back in the day, but probably before any of us really cared too much about anything. But before we jump into that, any thoughts you guys want to throw out there about anything going on really with the NFL in general? I know your team locked up Geno Smith for 2 years officially.
It's hard to be unhappy with it.
Yeah, 2 years, 75 is pretty. Listen, I wish my team was actually. Yeah. We're waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make up his damn mind about whatever the hell he's waiting for. So
he's like I think he's like the 15th to 12th best QB, and he's getting paid exactly like that. So I think that's. I'm just happy that I don't have to go through. I mean, since Derek Carr left, it's been Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell. And like 2 games of Brian Hoyer. So
now we're back to a quarterback as good as Derek Carr.
I've had this take of me, right, of where last year was a little bit different just because he had some red zone issues and obviously the offense kind of jumbled. But prior to last year, I would have said over the previous 2 years, I have Geno as a borderline top 10 guy in the league. And like, not saying he's going to get back to that a year removed from that level of play, but this should be a better environment for him, especially the offensive line-wise. Like, he had to deal with a lot of issues there. So maybe in the draft, we'll see what the Seahawks do with this draft simulator we're going to have in a minute. But if they can if they can figure out stuff in front of Sam Darnold, maybe they'll be better off. But I kind of still think Geno Smith is just what they should have stuck with, personally.
Yeah, we should can do it behind a battle line. I don't know. We've seen Sam Darnold behind a battle.
No, not good.
Not good.
It's funny. You said Geno Smith, minus some red zone issues. Borderline top 10 kid. You're getting QB. You're getting just driving Derek Carr.
That's fair. I mean, hey, the thing about that is though, right? is that anyway, we're gonna.
They're probably like the same age too. They really could have just kept Carr the whole time.
Yeah, I mean,
yes. Yes.
Here's the thing, though, right? At least for me. As I get this,
all right. Let's get into this.
As I get this pulled up here. Now, maybe this is just my bias against Derek Carr, okay? Because I do have one, mostly because I hate watching this man play football, okay?
Yeah.
Even if it equals out to like a totally fine quarterback, it is very frustrating to watch this man play football. If you told me, even like honestly, you could have told me like 4 years ago, before Geno Smith was even really starting yet, who I'd rather be my quarterback. I might still pick Geno Smith because at least I'm not watching Derek Carr play football. Like, that's kind of my opinion about that. So I'm cool with it either way.
I fully supported moving on from Carr. They just like the Raiders can't handle like anything. So
yeah,
like the decision was right, but the execution and finding another
everything else since
literally
then,
as bad as it possibly could have been.
Yeah, I was on board with making an attempt to upgrade. Like if they would have drafted, like after that first year with McDaniels, if they would have like kept Carr on the roster, but like try to draft a quarterback, I could see that. Or even if they cut him and then sold the farm to make sure they get a high draft pick at quarterback, I could get on board with that. But the plan was to replace him with Jimmy Garoppolo, where at best it was going to be a lateral move. Best case scenario.
Like slightly cheaper, maybe?
Yeah.
I think that was the only reason.
Well, it's also because Josh
find the
McDaniels
rationale
was the
anything Josh
head
McDaniels
coach, right? So
Well, yeah. Again,
yeah,
original sin was not bringing back
Bisaccia.
Bisaccia and that staff. That was the original sin that got us here. But enough talking about the Raiders. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do this time, guys, in this mock draft. We can comment on that too.
Oh God,
no,
I don't want to know.
I was like, no more, please. I can't handle anymore.
Let's force the Raiders to just trade out of every pick.
Out of every pick to just still then get a running back somehow.
They're just gonna have like 27 picks in next year's draft.
Yeah, right. Over under how many times? How many times did we get Dylan Gabriel for them? It was at least like 3 times.
It's got to be at least 3.
Like they kept. It's like, why is this what PFF
in like the
thinks
third round too?
Yeah, it wasn't even like a flyer. It was like, no, he's going day 2 for you guys. It's like, what's going on?
If that little guy goes day 2,
that little
guy. Be wild.
That little guy. So funny. Anyway, we got the Browns up here first. Let's see if the they do the thing that we expect to happen here with Cam Moore. So that's the first thing. So this is the first big decision that we're going to make. This is the first pick, and I think it is a big decision here because I know what direction I would go if I'm the Browns, and that's despite the fact that I know who their current starting quarterback would be if the game started today. And as a fan of the Steelers, I know that that's not good, right? Referencing Kenny Pickett here. However, I don't want to pass on either Hunter or Carter. That's going to be one of the 2 that I would want to go with. But I know you guys, I at least imagine, might want to push back with the Sanders pick here because of how bad it is for them.
I'm tempted to go Hunter here
simply
because I think this upcoming year they could draft Hunter and still probably suck, but have a good team.
Right.
Just because the quarterback play is going to be that bad. And then I think, like you can find yourself picking in the top 10 again next year. And, maybe you're in contention to go up and get a Drew Aller or something next year. And that might be, or whoever. I know that.
I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just funny to hear his name right now. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, go ahead.
But that's kind of the only thing I'm thinking. I mean, I think for me, Sanders or Hunter makes sense. I don't know if they have enough needs to justify what would be a pretty luxury pick and taking Carter here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it would be Hunter for me. I am a big Sanders fan, but I think, if this was a different team that needed a QB and had the second pick, I might go Sanders. But I think the Browns. Sorry, my cat's screaming right now.
That's what happens.
I think with the Browns, you have Deshaun Watson's contract on the books. I feel like it makes sense to just suck with Kenny Pickett for a year and then take a QB. Because if you have Kenny Pickett, I'm willing to bet the Browns are going to have a top 10 pick next year.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, it's going to be a much better QB class. So I would personally go Hunter here because kind of as Dalton said, I think, he fits better than Abdul Carter. But yeah, that would probably be my pick.
And I agree with that. I think Hunter is the pick here. As much as Carter and Garrett together sounds terrifying for both me as a Steelers fan and also for the rest of the NFL, it is a luxury pick compared to a Hunter. You get a player that could potentially help you at 2 spots, most likely would. I would imagine receiver mostly early on, and then I think that corner might become a need here in the near future. So I think that makes the most sense. So if you guys are indeed down with it, we can take Hunter here for the Browns.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. What do we get here next? Let's take a look at what's happened so far before we dive into our options here with the Bengals. So Abdul Carter goes 3. Okay. Mason Graham at 4. Haven't seen that in a while. Interesting. Will Campbell to the Jaguars. Why not? Hey, there we go. Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders, who was bringing him on a top 30 visit, I heard. So
yeah, it feels like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But them taking Jeanty over, in this case, both Sanders for one and Will Johnson would hurt my brain.
I know. Yeah. So
it really hurt.
Yeah. Fair enough. But Barron goes 7 to the Jets. It's about as high as I've seen him go. Armand Membu to the Panthers is interesting. I mean, all right. Saints
Tyler Warren.
take Tyler Warren's. Hey, listen, Tyler Warren is just if Cole Kmet was on like extra steroids, like mega ultra steroids. So I guess that works. I don't know.
That's that's what they need. Just another big bodied target.
You know that he would play quarterback half the time or something.
True.
And then some weird shit it would work out. Niners create what might be the most like high upside linebacker room in the league by adding Campbell to that run. Shamar Stewart to the Cowboys, that feels kind of right. Will Johnson to the Dolphins, very fun. Colts add Mike Green. Donovan Rock for the Falcons, and Mike. We have a
lot of edge rushers right there.
A lot of the Bengals here, and Micah Williams to the Cards. So let's take a look at the board here. I haven't watched the safeties yet, admittedly. That's for next week. I haven't got a chance to. But Malachi Starks is sitting here. Could definitely be a good fit for the Bengals. They need really help in the secondary and the linebacker room. They need defensive help. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Let's just be honest about that. But looks like a good amount of players here that could fit them. So where's your head go right away, Dalton? I'll start with you here.
So I've always said this for the Bengals, it has to be a defensive player here. It has to be. And I think right now, the best one available right now is probably Starks out of this group. Yeah. So that would probably be my pick. I think, even the secondary is not as big of a need for them. I think they need defense. And Malachi Starks is a good chess piece that I think can be moved to a lot of different spots.
Fair enough. What do you think, Jake?
I was also kind of going to lean Starks here. He's one of the few I haven't watched most of the safeties yet, but he's one of the ones that I have watched. And yeah, I kind of think he's the best player here. I do like Kenneth Grant also, but I'd probably lean Starks, I think.
Yeah, as much as I love like a Derek Harmon for them, make a lot of sense here. I'd love that. Even like you just said, Jake and Kenneth Grant. They've at least invested some picks in the defensive line in recent years that haven't quite gotten a chance to show themselves yet. So I feel like they might want to give those players a chance to see if they can be an impact on a cheap deal that they have as rookies and second-year players. So I think Starks would be the player of this group that makes the most sense because at least you could go with an edge rusher type, but like Pierce has some issues that may or may not be real. I don't really know at this point, but I do like him as a player. But the rest of these guys, I think, are at least close enough to Starks that I'd rather just go with Starks. So I'll agree with you guys there. Let's go Starks here. So let's see. So Josh Simmons goes to the Seahawks. Offensive lineman, maybe not the type that they need, but who knows. Matthew Golden to the Bucs. Interesting. And Mika Igbokwe, which this makes a lot of sense, of course, for the Broncos, bolstering that playmaking group. So the Steelers on the clock. First thing I'm going to point out, guys, is Shedeur Sanders is on the board.
That's the pick.
Now, I will say, I know that you guys are going to probably disagree with me. I would not make this pick if I was the Steelers. I don't think Sanders would change anything for this team because he is not the level of quarterback that they're going to be able to develop and win with to really get themselves out of this 10-7 rut. Now, it'll be a lot more interesting than having an Aaron Rodgers in here or anyone else in here. But I think the end game will still be the same. Like, he's not going to elevate this team offensively to the point where they're going to win a playoff game consistently and go far in the playoffs, not with the offense the way that it's built. So I'm at this point, I know it sounds nuts. I would not make this pick if it was me today, but I do get that this is the smart pick from a team building standpoint. You need a quarterback in here. Aaron Rodgers can't be the answer for more than this year. And Mason Rudolph is your only other option currently. So I get that, though. So
I don't know. I feel like the only reason you don't want Shedeur is Arthur Smith.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. So
I mean, I don't know. I think you get Shedeur, and if you draft Shedeur and then maybe, add another good player on offense and set on day 2. If you can't have a top 15 offense with how good the offense, with how solid the offensive line is, and everything else, and like the weapons they do already have at wide receiver and at tight end. I mean, to me, if you can't make that work, then Arthur Smith should be fired.
And that's my thing is this is more of my lack of faith in the offensive side of this organization more so than we think New Cedars isn't worth a pick at 21, right? That's where my hesitation lies. Like if I was running the team, yeah. So that's why I want to throw that out there. I'm not saying I'm not going to make this pick with you guys, or I'm not going to agree with you guys here. I'm just saying, like, if I was running the team and I had to make this pick right now, he probably wouldn't be the pick. So, but I know that's the smart decision here if I'm also getting to choose who's the offensive coordinator ultimately. So maybe I'll give Smith a year to figure it out, and if he's as bad as I think he is, get out of here. That's not going to happen in real life, unfortunately. So I also don't think Sanders is going to be here at 21, frankly, so I don't think it matters too much.
He's not.
Yeah, but if it does happen, we'll see if they end up taking him here. But I'm assuming, Jake, you agree with Dalton here. You want to take Sanders here.
I kind of do. I honestly think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler, so I honestly think
assume so.
For 2025, I think their biggest need here is the defensive line.
Yeah, Derek Carmer would be my pick, by the way, if I was making the pick.
Yeah, I do understand taking Sanders here because you do at some point need some type of long-term QB.
Yes.
So you don't have to go through Russell Wilson's and
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers every offseason. But
100%, yeah.
So probably if it were up to me, I would draft a QB. I don't know. Sanders is the only QB that I would think about taking here.
Right. Yeah,
I
that's the other
wouldn't
thing
take
too.
Jackson Dart here.
None of the other guys. Yeah.
Pretty much every mock draft I think I've seen in the last week has Dart going to the Steelers.
That's insanity.
Yeah, I saw one that did have Sanders falling to 21 with the Athletic. Someone at the Athletic did one, but it's been a quarterback a lot recently. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I could go either way. I understand Sanders because you need a long-term QB, but I think if you're looking at 2025, I mean, you have Cam Hayward who had a great year, but he's only getting older.
36 now, yeah.
Minkah Fitzpatrick's only getting older. TJ Watt's only getting older. And aside from Hayward, the rest are Fitzpatrick and Watt had dips in production last year. So I think, aside from Hayward and Keanu Benton, there isn't really anyone on the defensive line.
No, yeah.
Can you go to defensive line?
Yeah, I can. So again, it's
hard to pass on Sanders here.
It's Grant, Nolan, Hart, like a lot of the heavy hitters are here. So like again, for me, like if I was doing this and I had full control of the organization, I would be taking probably Sanders because at that point I can try to put in place an offensive like coaching staff that I think can make him work as a starter long term. But if I'm picking for this team and just like getting to choose the players for them and they do what they want, I think Sanders goes the way of Pickett for the most part. Not as bad as him because he's a better player and a better prospect than him, but he ultimately, I don't think he changes anything for the team because the same issues that are there are just going to plague him now instead of whatever quarterback it is, right? Like that's where I'm kind of at from that thinking, but this isn't what we would do. So if we want to think of it that way, like if I can then say, hey, I'm going to have an offensive staff that I think will fit him, then I think it's pretty easy to take him to 21.
Yeah.
See, even in Arthur Smith's offense, I think it could be closer to what Ryan Tannehill looked like in Arthur Smith's offense versus.
That's fair.
Versus Pickett. You
would hope so. Yeah, that's the goal. Now, obviously, we don't have Derrick Henry right now to help out with that.
No,
but that's the thing that you'd want to then address.
Second round when they pick.
Guess what? We don't have a second round pick. DK Metcalf is our second round pick.
Third round.
Oh no, I know. When the third round rolls around, we will be definitely looking at running back first. I'll promise you that much.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that point later. But I think, Jake, I know you're kind of back and forth, and I know when you started this talk about like whether we should take it or not. With him on the board here, I think you have to kind of just take the swing at this point. So, do you agree with us on that?
Are you guys both going Sanders?
I know, Dalton, you're going to go Sanders. So
I am. I'm hoping sanity prevails with you guys.
I'll end it.
I'm gonna go defensive line.
All right, Jake.
You guys are both picking Sanders, so
I beat you out.
I'm okay with that though, because Sanders I would take it at 21.
That's my point. Like I talked about why I would hesitate, but like ultimately I think
it's hard to be mad with getting Sanders there.
Yeah,
especially if that's how it goes on draft day.
Right. So Jalen Walker, the Chargers. I don't think I've ever seen that in my whole life. So that's interesting, especially with Kenneth Grant on the board here.
Not a bad pick though for them.
No, I don't think it's bad. I think it's just haven't seen it. Kenneth Grant, Marion Hampton to the Vikings. That's an interesting running back room for this year and in the future. Kelvin Banks, no surprise here. Got to go tackle if the Texans might need to take offensive line with every pick at this point, potentially. We'll see. And then Walter Nolan to the right. That's an interesting group on the defensive line. Holy crap. That'll be fun. All right. Ravens up here at 27. Looking at the board here. I find myself most often kind of going towards edge and defensive back here with them. Like when I'm thinking of picks for them, that's generally where I end up landing.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere you guys want to look at board-wise, just kind of see who's there?
Maybe corner.
Corner. Yeah, let's start. Corner. So Savone Revel is there. Interesting one for them. Trey Amos I like a lot. Benjamin Morrison, who's going to probably go earlier than they have him here because we're more confident about the hip. At least I am at this point with him from everything I've seen. Porter, Thomas, all these guys options here.
I don't mind Morrison here. I do really like the idea of Pierce on that defense.
Yeah, James Pierce makes a lot of sense too.
However, Colston Loveland still being on the board here. And, let's be honest though.
Mark Andrews is cooked.
Andrews is cooked. There you go. Mark Andrews is cooked.
And Isaiah Likely, good player, not a full-time tight end in my opinion.
No.
Now, some people might tell you, at least maybe some Ravens fans would tell you, Charlie Kolar erasure, but I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I think he's good, but
Loveland would immediately be like an idea. Would basically just you'd take the clock on Andrews and turn it back 3 years by drafting Loveland. At least minimum 3 years.
Yeah, I could get behind that for sure. That makes a lot of sense.
But I know that'd be a luxury pick.
Kind of, but
it's also a team that kind of can do that
to a certain degree. Yeah.
So
what do you think, Jake?
Yeah.
I like Loveland. I could, I agree. Mark Andrews is cooked. And I am a big Isaiah Likely fan, but I don't know if he's a full-time starter.
Right, I think he's a fun piece of the offense, but he's not going to replace Mark Andrews in the sense that he's not going to go do the things Mark Andrews did for this team. If that makes sense.
So I could get behind Loveland. I think maybe Andrews and Likely is still a good enough tight end room to get by on, but I could understand the Loveland pick. I think I would probably lean more to James Pierce Jr. I think that would probably be my leaning, but I could. It would be nice to turn the clock back on Andrews a bit.
Yeah. I think for me, ultimately, because I think that the passing game with what they have is good enough because of all the ways that they kind of stress defenses with the play calling, with Lamar being able to pretty much just stand in the pocket for 12 years because no one can touch him most of the time. It kind of makes everything easier for that. Let's be honest with you. That's a big part of why their offense is as good as it is he's just all right, I'm going to wait 4 minutes for stuff to happen because no one can sack me anyway, so who cares? I think they can get by with what they have offensively, and you could maybe target some other playmakers later in the draft, but Pierce off the edge in this defense, I think they could really use some more just infusion of pass rush there. And if any team is going to be able to just shake loose whatever issues Pierce might have as a person that we've heard about, Ravens are definitely near the top of that list, I would imagine. So I think that's where I would ultimately land here.
Yeah, I can go with that.
All right, let's do it. Ravens done here. So now we're back on the clock with the Browns at 33. Now, they didn't take a quarterback before, but we did take Sanders, who I'm not going to lie, I probably still would be here if we didn't take him because the way that he's in this mock draft or the way he's in the simulator. But we did that with the Steelers, so they don't get him here. Tyler Booker to the Eagles, that would happen for sure. Loveland goes to the Lions. Is he going to play outside receiver, maybe? I don't know. That's fine. Anyway, moving on here. Looking at the board here, so obviously we took Hunter at 2. We presume he's going to be primarily a receiver, at least early on for them. So it kind of takes receiver need.
Maybe? I don't know.
I mean, realistically, the corner room, assuming everyone's healthy, to me is better than the receiver room.
Fair.
So that's why. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to do that, but I think that would be my guess if they took him, was that they would play him as receiver early on, at least for the most part.
Man, I don't know. Luther Burden still being there.
That's true. Doesn't mean you can't take Burden too, but
Because then, like, again, you're even with Luther Burden, Travis Hunter, you're still gonna be terrible because Kenny Pickett's you're gonna be your quarterback until Deshaun Watson comes back,
which won't be at all this year somehow.
Oh, he's not coming back at all.
He hurt himself again after that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he had a setback in the offseason, so he's not done.
So it is officially Pickett time.
The Browns owner, like last week, was like
pretty much was like, we made a huge
that was a
mistake. I effed up, so that's my fault. Is pretty much what happened. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much cooked.
Yeah.
So in that case, you would put whoever you draft next year in a great situation if you draft Burden here.
That's true. Now counterpoint. Derek Harmon's still on the board, and I couldn't tell you other than I think Mike Hall Jr. is his name. I couldn't tell you who plays defensive tackle for this team.
That's fair.
Just throwing that out there. So maybe I'm missing somebody because I know they got rid of what's his name? Paid a bunch of money to him.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, but they had a big ticket defensive tackle that they let go this offseason. Former Giants guy, I can't remember his name for some reason. But with him gone there, that could make some sense because he's a true like full size defensive tackle to pair with Hall Jr. So that's probably where I would lean. Just with the best player available for me at this point.
Right now they have Malik Collins and Shelby Harris as their
starting. Okay, those are good veterans, but I don't know how long those guys will stick around for.
Yeah, that's not ideal. God, Shelby. You remember Raiders legend Shelby Harris?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't think he made the team.
And he ended up with the Broncos, didn't he, for a long time?
Had a very good career.
Well, there you go.
But
no, just based on that, like, if I'm going BPA,
he's higher on my big board than Burden.
Right. What do you think, Jake? Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I'm probably leaning closer to Harmon. I think he's somebody that I would have taken with the Steelers at 21.
Me too.
I'd be pretty happy to get him.
That's who it would have been if it wasn't.
Luther Burden would be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to have a year where it's like, Luther, go out there and try to catch passes from Kenny Pickett? I don't know about that. Anyway, we'll go Harmon here. The simulator tried to kill itself for a second there. All right, I think we're good. So let's take a look at what we got here. Jackson Dart to the Giants. They got their boy. He fits all the criteria, folks. Let me tell you what. You know what I'm talking about. We don't need to talk about it. Alec Ayumanor, like that for the Titans. Tyleik Williams, knee. I don't know yet. I don't know if anyone's heard anything about the knee injury at the pro day, whether that's a serious one or not. But if not, I like the range here for a team like the Jags. You get listen.
I like
Raiders' offense might be pretty good, guys. If this is your draft, I don't know.
Yeah,
be pretty good. So
that's a hell of an offense.
I mean, that's two or Brock Bowers not a receiver, he's a tight end, but that's two.
He's a receiver.
A running.
He's a receiver.
I mean, that's two pass catchers and a running back with a lot of promise in the last 2 years. So,
and a non-Aiden O'Connell quarterback.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's a good team with some issues. That's going to give teams problems.
For sure, we love that. Man, Jack Bech to the Patriots. The only team that would make more sense is the Rams. They love their anyway. Bears here take T.J. Sanders. I like the idea of that for the interior defensive line. Connerly to the Saints. They need tackle help for sure, especially with the way that Penning's worked out. Caleb Johnson to the Bears. Certainly fun. We like that. Darius Alexander. I'm a big fan of him going to the Jets. That's cool. Landon Jackson. A lot of edges, defensive players coming off the board here. Xavier Watts. Cool. I saw someone, I forget which show it was, but somebody was talking about how don't draft Malachi Starks in the first, but you could draft Xavier Watts in the second. But not everyone can draft Xavier Watts in the second. Someone's got to have to draft Malachi Starks at some point. I thought that was pretty funny. Maxwell Harrison to the Falcons. Add a lot of speed there in corner room. Zaire Thomas to the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals pick so. Well, Michael Williams a little bit. I don't know. And then Simone Rapp. 2 corners for the Dolphins. Forget about it. He ain't throwing on them at all.
They're gonna take 2 more before this draft.
They'll probably take 3.
And Tua will be out for the year by week 3.
That's why you got to keep drafting them, Dalton. You got to have fresh bodies that go out there. No, so the Bengals up here, we took Malachi Stark, speaking of, in the first round here. So now I would look at probably something in the front 7 for this team. You know, they did add a lot of guys in the last couple of years, but could add some more depth there. Get some edges here that we can look at. Braden Swinson, honestly, kind of where his range starts for me at this point. You know how much I love Josiah Stewart. He'd be very fun in this room. I'm not sure if they have guys that can kind of help protect him as like and being the number 2 edge type of guy that I think he'd be, but that'd be a lot of fun.
On the board?
No, he went to, I think it was the Chiefs at 31.
Gotcha. That's a good pick for them.
But yeah, Chiefs at 31. So yeah, the edges that we got on the board are these, and then we could throw up the defensive line as well. Shamar Turner looks like the highest rated one for them left. So for me,
on the board?
He would be. Probably, yeah, because he's rated down here. So.
Why?
I mean, this is closer to. I mean, he's not going to be 75 on my board, but this is closer to where he'd be for me than for you. But still, even I'm like, needs to be up a little bit higher than this. So I definitely get that one. That would make a lot of sense for them for sure as well.
That would probably be my pick.
Gotcha. Okay, Jake, where are you kind of at? Is there somewhere you want or a position you want me to throw up to look at? And
I was kind of thinking the same thing as you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
It's on the same wavelength.
So if that's the case, I wouldn't hate Collins. I know I'm not quite as high on him as you are, Dalton, but this is still closer to the range that I would be looking at him anyway. So I'm down with that. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone that I'd be wanting to go to bat for here. A little bit in the front 7 especially. I mean, they still need corner too. I like Trey Amos a good.
Yeah, I was gonna say Amos. If we were looking, if we weren't ruling out secondary,
Benjamin Morrison's still here too. So
I could go with Amos. I'd be okay with Amos or Collins. They're right around the same spot on my board.
Mm-hmm. What do you think here, Jake? Do you think that having like a corner like Amos or Morrison might supersede a Collins or something like that for you, or do you think that you still want to go interior defensive line here?
I think at 49, I think a player like Amos or Morrison might give more value.
Ben Morrison's still there?
Yeah, he's still there too. One of those two.
I always miss him because PFF buries him down there.
Just because, the injury. I mean, it seems like they like him, but just they don't know what to do with the injury thing, which I get.
Yeah.
But yeah, Morrison would be my pick here too.
That's a pick for me. Yeah.
Amos. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
That'd be fun for sure. They need. I mean, they can't. Cam Taylor-Britt can't be your top corner. I'm sorry, you can't be doing that. So we'll take Benjamin Morrison here. Ravens up here. Oh, Texans, Cam Scatabo. Woo. There he is.
Why?
Oh, good. The Panthers took Travion Henderson because they need running backs as much as anybody does.
I don't hate Cam Scatabo on the Texans.
Yeah.
I hate him at 58.
Yeah.
That's fair. Maybe if this was in like the 3rd or 4th round.
Maybe. Xavier Strepo at 54 is fun to the Packers. That's going to happen for sure. He's not going to going ahead of Jaden Higgins.
That would be such a funny addition to their
the Packers taking Strepo over Jaden Higgins in the back-to-back picks is so funny to me. I'd love this for the Chargers, by the way. This would be awesome. But this whole also again, the Seahawks love edge rushers who maybe are number 2s, maybe. And I don't even really feel that good about Jack Sawyer at this point, frankly. So whatever. Anyway, ignoring this stuff, I got the Ravens back on the board here. Went edge in the first round, James Pierce Jr. I think this is where we can start looking at like playmakers for sure. Like we can see what we got at wide receiver at this point. I think at this point, because of the fact that a good bit of running backs would come off the board, I would have considered like looking for the future beyond Derrick Henry, maybe potentially. But I think with the guys that I've seen go off the board, probably not somebody left that I would want to do that with. We could check and see, like, I mean, Judkins and Sampson are here, but like, I don't know. Not sure if this is really the range to do it at this point. Where do you guys want to look at here?
What's available in the secondary?
That's a good question. So Darian Porter, who I would consider here for sure, kind of the type of guy that they might be able to mold and be a good outside corner for them. Look at safety. Kevin Winston Jr. is here.
Oh,
that'd be fun.
Would probably be the pick.
And then I just want to throw up playmaker here too, receiver, just to see what we got. Did you guys watch Kyle Williams yet?
Not.
I need to watch him because people are like, he's flying up the board right now for people. It's crazy. So I need to watch him. I've not. He's one of my like after we're done with the safeties, my last guys I'm going to be watching. I have like a list of like 20 guys that I either skipped over, or just didn't know was going to get the hype they got. That I need to watch. He's one of them. So probably not going to be a pick for us just because I don't know if any of you guys watched him at this point. But looking at who we got here, so you would go Kevin Winston Jr. You think, Dalton?
Yeah, I think at this point in the draft like that would be. That defense is already pretty good. If you come out of this draft with Pierce and Kevin Winston Jr., you've got a really, really good defense long term.
True. This would allow Williams probably then, or not Williams. I can't think of his name right now.
I know who you're talking about. The Notre Dame guy, right?
Yeah. Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton. That would allow him to go back into kind of that like slot overhang role that he was so good at. In year 2 especially, like he had to go back to safety and it helped the defense. Like he was good at safety, but I think he's more valuable in that kind of like more movable chess piece slot type of role for them. This would allow them to do that then in that situation. So
because Winston can truly hang back there and be that.
Yeah, he has that
high guy if you need to. Yeah.
What do you think, Jake? You feel any differently or?
I like Winston here. I feel like with this Ravens team. For most of this draft, like you can kind of just have fun with it, if that makes sense.
Fair.
Like,
That's fair.
You know, I don't. You can kind of just add where you want on defense. I feel like because there isn't any really major holes there. So, I would like Winston.
All right, fair enough for me. I don't have any hesitation there. All right, so second tight end for the Lions. We love that. I guess one of them will play fullback. I don't know. Whatever. Hey, Aaron Ursary to the Chiefs. Man, the Chiefs are really kicking Dalton in the teeth, just taking players he likes so far. For 2 rounds, to that much. Quinshot Judkins to the Eagles, because sure. Omar Norman Lotz and Josiah Stewart. Now they're doing it to me too. Dalton, what the heck? Gosh, they took Scorton and Stewart, like the 2 least like similar edge rushers I've ever seen in my life. So that's
that's a great draft for the Chiefs.
It is. Yeah, of course it is. Brown's back up here, though, so we took Hunter and Harmon. Love that for them so far. It's definitely a BPA draft for them so far. Now I'd be looking at, me personally, seeing if there's any offensive lineman worth taking a shot on here, and then also running back, because boy, is that group not good. So that's kind of what I want to throw up here. I don't know if you guys have any other position groups you want to throw in there, but...
I am curious. Like, Milrow's gone, right?
No, I doubt it, actually. I didn't think about that. No, he's not.
Oh, that in a year where like otherwise you're going to be throwing Kenny Pickett out there. Like if there was a year to find out if you had anything in like someone like a Jalen Milrow, this would be the way to do it because you kind of hope you suck anyways.
But what if he is good enough to keep you out of drafting another QB next year, but not good enough for you to like believe he's the future, and then that's what I worry about with the position with the Browns. And kind of going back to what I said about when we got Travis Hunter for them instead of Shedeur, was my argument was kind of like I just want them to be bad next year. I think like it would make sense to just be bad for a year, and you know, value-wise, I like Milrow here. I just think I worry that he's going to be good enough to just keep them like away from getting like a better QB in next year's class. If that makes sense.
But I think what you could do there is you just wait till you start Pickett right away. To be clear, you just wait till he gets hurt or you lose 6 games, whichever one happens first. Yeah, both are probably going to happen by October.
Yeah, I mean, my point that I would make here is that while I think this is the range that I would want to take Milrow, the Browns might ruin him immediately if he plays, which he will play because Pickett will be ass. And then they're going to be like, well, we got a rookie quarterback. Let's throw him out there. And then he's going to run for 80 yards and then probably throw like 3 interceptions because the pass protection isn't going to be there. And it's just going to be like one of those things where it's a bit of a wasted pick by the end of the first year. When instead, maybe,
Probably.
yeah. But what you could do is continue just to make this team look good, hopefully in 2 years.
True.
That's all I'm saying. But the value here is fine. Like I think the idea of it is totally fine. I just worry that it's just going to end up being a big fat disaster that might end up leading them to still a top 5 pick next year. But I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
But I get the value though, for sure. I think it's fine. I want to take a look at what else is around first because that might impact that ultimately, of course. So looking at running back, I don't know what to do with Dylan Sampson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I love RJ Harvey. I know a lot of people don't, so I'm not going to try to fight that one. Probably a little bit early still anyway. I know he's old. Okay, Dalton. I know. Running backs don't last that long anyway. Who gives a crap? That's my argument. It's not maybe the best one, but it's the one I'm going with. I think I mentioned this before. I do like Damian Martinez a lot. I didn't watch him with the first running back group that we did, but I do like him a lot, really. Would definitely be willing to consider him in this range for sure. Marcus Mbow would be a fun piece on this offensive line.
Very intriguing.
Yeah.
Pick here this late.
A lot of the offensive linemen here, I think, are good enough to go
there.
Yeah. Like a lot of these guys are good enough to be the pick here for sure.
There's actually a lot of linemen there that I like. Probably a little more than Mbow, to be honest.
Yeah. I think the top tackle for me left would be Trapillo or Trapillo.
Mine would probably be Milan.
Yeah, but I view him as a guard. That's why I said tackle, top tackle. Best offensive lineman left for me, I think, would be, if I pull it back up here. It'd be smart if I had that up all the time, huh? Let me. To this point, I forget off the top of my head. Great podcasting by me right now. Here we go. So if we're going best, like I said, best tackle left, definitely would be Trapillo. Yeah, for me. And then best offensive lineman left, in general, probably be Mbow, I would think.
Yeah, that's my best one left as well. But honestly, kind of what Dalton said, there's a lot of
you could go a lot of directions here. Like it might be a tad early for Jared Wilson, but I think Pochich still their center at this. I don't know. I stopped caring about the Browns 3 games in the last year, so. Pretty sure Browns fans did too, but.
Probably 2 games longer than Browns fans.
Yeah, that first game was pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie, so maybe you're right. I do think again, the quarterback thing, totally fair. But if it's not going to be Milrow, I do think I would go with one lower Mbow. But
yeah, for me, if you guys both have Mbow higher, I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be a fun piece for them. Definitely somebody you could kind of slide into a couple different spots potentially as well. So let's go with Marcus Mbow here. Oh, let's go back. So the Raiders, we need to see. Oh, Jets took Milrow, by the way. I love that for them. That's good. That's a good option, I think. Darian Porter, guys, how do you feel about that?
I mean, let's just keep adding 3rd and 4th round corners. Why not?
Also, it's not Dylan Gabriel.
I was kind of worried it was going to be Dylan Gabriel. We scrolled up.
So we'll see. Looking at CJ West, getting a lot of love. Might be a little early for me, but a lot of love.
Jalen Milrow to the Jets.
Yep, yeah. Milrow to the Jets makes a lot of sense. Alfred Collins to the Cowboys. Boy, do they need him. Holy shit. That would be a great pick for them. I'll tell you that much. Patriots pick up Trey Harris, help out the receiver room there. I like that. Mason Taylor to the team that just paid Trey McBride $76 million. We love that.
Wait, that's at least the 2nd wide receiver the Patriots have taken, though.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they took
Betch earlier. And
they
didn't take Tet earlier.
No, they took Mason Graham before.
Okay.
Over Abdul Carter, which was really fun.
I think Tet went 7.
Yeah, 7 or 8 or something like that. But Trapillo they took here too. Like that for them. Yeah. Bengals up here again. So to recap, we got Starks and Morrison. Love that for them. Not so great for me, unfortunately, if this were to happen, I don't think. But again, I'm not trying to mess up those teams, trying to help them out in the situation. So we've attacked the secondary real heavy. This is now where I think that, to me, you can either go offensive line, sneak in an offensive pick here to a team that clearly needs still help in that area, even though defense is the biggest issue, or now we start looking at front seven again. So which direction do you guys kind of want to focus on here, you think?
I think you got to stop the run at some point.
Yeah,
right.
I'd agree.
So if we're looking at that, I have kind of all the positions I care the most about for them thrown up here. Joshua Farmer's up here. Jordan Phillips is that kind of true, like nose tackle type, but I think this is early for him. We got
there he is.
Walker,
there he is.
Who won't help you stop the run.
No, he won't. But he'll get in the way.
He would certainly be in the way. I can't argue that. I mean, if we're trying to stop the run, my pick would be Caldwell here. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I know I'm a little bit higher on him, I think, than maybe both of you. I forget. But that would probably be like if we're just focusing on run defense. Phillips is in that same boat too. Farmer's a good player. He's slightly high. He's one spot higher than Caldwell on my board, but he's more of like I think a true like 3-down defensive tackle in my opinion. But
what do the Bengals have there at D tackle right now?
Chris Jenkins Jr.
And BJ Hill.
BJ Hill, yeah, probably some other randos at some point in there, but
yeah, I think honestly a big body like Caldwell might make a little more sense.
That's kind of where I was at too, but
I mean, he's not much further down on my board. He's not. I mean, yeah. He's a little further down. I mean, but I get that. Like, I don't know. I think I'd still probably go Walker, but if you guys are higher on Caldwell, I'm okay with it.
Where are you at with him, Jake? Because I forget if you have. I know you were like Walker was like 15 for me. You were, I think he was like 10 for you, and then Dalton had him at like what 6 or 5.
Walker,
yeah.
He is my DT 7, I think.
7.
He was 7 for me also.
Oh, okay, so you're probably higher on Walker than Caldwell then, right?
I had him right behind Tyleik Williams.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if we're deciding between those two, I'm assuming, Jake, you'd probably go Walker here.
Yeah. I kind of like Farmer here too, but yeah, I'd probably lean Walker, I think.
Okay, well, if you guys both want Walker, then I won't say anything. I'll just probably laugh when he doesn't play run defense for the Bengals somehow. That's what I would be doing as a Steelers fan. But no, I don't care. I get it. We'll throw him here then. Steelers up just a pick later here. Well, 2 picks later. Jared Wilson of the Seahawks feels smart, to say the least, for them, but we'll see. So, Shadur Sanders, welcome to the team. Looking at – first I want to look at running back here.
This feels like Samson territory.
Yeah, again, I'm just not the biggest fan of him in general, but he is still up there for me among these guys. I think, and got to default to the running back board, which is going to be a little bit different than I had back, obviously, at the start of draft season, but I might reorder these guys. But if I'm going off my own board here, technically, well, Ollie Gordon is no longer near the top of mine. I can't do it with him at this point. My highest rated back left is Devin Neal, but I don't know if I love the fit with the Steelers personally as much. Man, this is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, Samson does bring the big playability. I think he'd be good in the zone scheme with them, with Arthur Smith's offense.
Yeah.
So I get that. I do wonder.
He'll get defensive line.
Yeah, that's the thing. Would I rather have like a Joshua Farmer or a Jamari Caldwell? Probably because of the depth of this running back class. I could probably get somebody later that I like more than I like the defensive interior players here.
I feel pretty confident that we can get a decent running back for him in the fourth.
I get that. My only issue is I just feel like after Samson, I feel like there's a bit of a drop off.
Yeah, from your perspective, for sure, I get, because like I have players here that are above Samson that are still left here that are going to be taken.
Yeah,
after him.
I'd be happy with like Neal or Martinez or somebody, but I don't know if they make it to the fourth.
What are the D linemen left?
Are the back half of
the D linemen that are left is Broughton, which I haven't watched yet. I should go back and watch him because a lot of people are fans of him. Joshua Farmer, Phillips, Caldwell.
I'm not very high on any of those guys.
Right. Yeah. I feel like for me though, especially if Farmer and Caldwell go before the fourth round, I don't know if I'm drafting any of the guys currently on the board, even in the fourth round for me. So that's where I run into issues where I feel like it's more likely a running back that I like is it in the fourth round than a defensive lineman that I like, and this team needs to add somebody that I think is playable on the defensive line early on. So that's kind of where I end up landing. And for me, it would technically be Farmer would be my highest rated defensive lineman left. I kind of like the idea of Caldwell though on this defensive line is that true nose tackle type with the athleticism to at least give you a little something in the pass rush. So I think my pick would be Caldwell.
Yeah, I think Alexander and Peebles are both gone.
Well, Peebles is still here. I'm not as big a fan of him.
I know you don't like Peebles. I only have Caldwell one spot below, so I'm good with Caldwell.
That's fair. Okay.
I'm in the same boat.
Okay, so
I think it has to be.
That's just where I'm at too.
I'm honestly a proponent of just doubling up in the first and the third on D-line.
I could see it, but I do think if they go defensive line in the first, they're probably taking a shot at a quarterback in the third round. Yeah. So this will be one variation of that is what I think. It'll be either first and third of quarterback and defensive line or the opposite. Let's go Caldwell here for me. Ravens back up here again. So they have Pearson, Winston Jr., good draft for them, of course, so far. Now I think you could start to have some fun with it, even more than they've already had. For me, I think adding another receiver to this room could make a lot of sense just to have some guys that maybe don't have to play a huge impact right away, but could develop into something. I already know one guy that Dalton would be pounding the table for. So there's that. I haven't watched Kyle Williams. I do like Jalen Noel a lot. Now that I've seen him actually test in a way that makes me think his play style is going to be effective at the next level. So Saban Williams, I don't know what to do with that. Beats me. Unless he's going to be Derrick Henry's replacement, I don't know if I'm drafting him for the Ravens.
Honestly, they're almost the same size.
So exactly. So, Jake, I want to know where your head's at here with the Ravens first here. What do you think? You think something fun like a receiver? Do you want to look at something else here?
I was thinking receiver here. I would probably go
too, but T. Ferg, Harold Fannin Jr. to have two Isaiah Likeleys on the field at the same time. That's my comp for him, by the way. But no, what are you saying, Jake?
I kind of like Jalen Noel here.
Me too.
I know. Yeah. I have a feeling Dalton's going to suggest Isaiah Bond.
I have a feeling I would also be okay sure.
I would also be okay with him. It would probably be between him and Noel for me, but I would be pretty set on receiver, I think, for me.
Okay, got it. So Dalton, your pick is going to be Bond, right? Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing.
I saw the look on his face as soon as he pulled up.
Here's the thing.
I forgot I honestly, the only reason I didn't mention him earlier is because I forgot he was there.
Fair enough. Here's the thing. I'm going to go with you on this, Dalton. I'm going to take Bond here with you. I'm going to pick Bond. But you know why?
Why?
Because I think he's ass, and I want him to go to the Ravens. No, I'm just kidding. He's not bad. I'm going to take him to the Ravens, though, partially because we want to get him off the board. We know that you think he's going to go higher than this. He may or may not. But also, if I'm right about Bond in this situation, then the Ravens are worse for it. So I win. If he's great, who cares? They're probably going to take a great player anyway because it's the Ravens. So really, I can't lose that bad in this situation. So we'll take Isaiah Bond here at 91.
Hey, my track record with receivers is admittedly not great. So I'll be honest.
Troy Franklin, come on down. Yeah, that's one you unfortunately probably won't get the chance to live down super.
That's fair. I deserve it.
I mean, I forget what I said about Troy. I said something about him that was ridiculous, like that was really funny to me, and then you were like, "He's my number whatever receiver." And I'm like, "Oh," and that was fun. So there's always one in the receiver room. It feels like that's how it's going to be.
You missed it. You missed it the other week, there, Jake.
Yeah.
Their corners. Shayne and I think we were not more than 3 players apart.
No, I don't think at any point. We saw the corners very similarly.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I
was waiting for
identical. There was not a single guy that we weren't miles apart on.
Right. Yeah. I will say I did consider putting Will Johnson at 11 at the start of the show just to F with you a little bit. It should be like, what do you mean you have Will Johnson number 1 or number 2? This guy can't play.
Anybody say that?
He runs a 4.840. That's what I was considering doing it for just a couple minutes.
If you could sell that would have been really impressive.
I know. I almost did it for the content, but I didn't want to give Dalton a heart attack at this point. He's like, "Come on, man!"
I would have questioned my entire. If you would have convinced me that you were serious,
you would have been like, "Did I miss something? Because what the hell?"
Yeah,
I would have looked up the scouting report immediately and just been like, "Am I thinking of the wrong player?"
Did I watch the wrong player? No, I didn't do that because I didn't want to do that to you. But anyway, maybe I'll do that next year with somebody. That'd be funny if I did that. Anyway. Browns up here. Love the draft for them, unfortunately for me. Hunter, Harmon, and Bo. Great pick so far. All players of need. All one of the best players on the board, I would say, at the time, especially Hunter in this case and Harmon. But now I think got to start looking at where you can have a little bit of fun here, a little bit, even for a team that's not that great. You could see what quarterbacks are left. I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know.
Yours.
Listen. Tyler Shuck would probably be the quarterback I would take here because he has the chance to, if he's actually good, it'll only be for 8 years, right? But it gives them 8 years of quarterback play if he's really good, right? Because he's 26. It's basically what if we did the what's his face out of Oklahoma State they drafted in 2012 or whatever. Yeah, Brandon Weeden. It's what if we did the Brandon Weeden thing, but where Brandon Weeden should have been drafted if you're going to take a chance on him, and he's younger than Brandon Weeden by 3 years somehow still, which is still that's one of the funniest first round picks ever, right? The Browns somehow made it even funnier for them than it already was by doing that. But that's a decade ago. We're not worried about that. But yeah, I'm not doing quarterback here. But what we could do is running back potentially. And for me, for them, Devin Neal will be a lot of fun. I would probably go Damian Martinez. I think he's definitely got more athleticism as a runner to him than Neal does. I think he's less polished as a runner for sure, but I think he has the body type and he's a little bit younger than Neal. I think he is, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he'd be better as that true bell cow type for them. And they need that with Chubb gone like they do. If that offense is going to have any hope of being even sort of good, they have to have a running game that can sort of play. And I think he would give them that. But that's who I think I'd take for them at running back. But we don't necessarily have to go running back here either. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with running back here because, do you think you need someone to complement Nick Chubb?
Well, Chubb's gone.
So. That's right, he's gone.
Yeah.
They don't make
that's my biggest reason for it.
I keep forgetting he's gone. All the running backs move around so much.
They do. Well, this will be his first year not playing for the Browns, if he even plays, because right now doesn't have a team.
That's right.
We'll see if he does sign somewhere. Yeah, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Bringing in Geno Smith. He's 35. Who cares? Right now the running back for the Browns is Jerome Ford, who was either a 60-yard run or a negative 6-yard run waiting to happen. And Pierre Strong Jr., who I did like coming out in the draft. I think it was South Dakota State back a couple years ago, but probably not the bell cow running back.
No.
So to me, Martinez makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple guys ahead of him.
Okay, who would you have ahead of him then in the situation?
I still have Ollie Gordon as my next side back.
That still makes some sense from a
Devin Neal would be a next. Ollie Gordon, I think, is one of the few guys left at this point that I think has real lead back potential.
Okay.
If the athleticism works, at the next level. It's kind of the main thing.
It just depends what Ollie Gordon are we getting. If we're getting 2023 Ollie Gordon, I'm totally cool with it. If we're getting 2024 Ollie Gordon, that guy might not make a team for more than a year or two. So that's kind of the issue with him, is you don't really know.
Oklahoma State team was also terrible.
Oh, they're not good. Admittedly, not very good. So I can get behind that. But where are you at with this one, Jake?
I was gonna say Devin Neal, but that was because I didn't know that Ollie Gordon was further down on the board.
Fair enough. He's 231 on the PFF
way
board
down
right
there.
now. To hell with you, Ollie.
Anyway. I would actually like Ollie Gordon here. It would probably be between. Yeah, I don't know. I could see him, Devin Neal, Martinez, probably in that order for me.
Yeah. Well, if you guys like Ollie Gordon enough, I don't hate him. It's definitely not this bad. Holy crap!
You just have to hope that you're getting 2023.
They hate Jordan James too. I know, Jake, you're a fan of him, or you know?
I like Jordan James. Yeah.
They hate his ass.
I don't know about here though.
Yeah. Anyway, no. Yeah, I'm good with Ollie Gordon if you guys want to.
Yeah, we can do that.
Now, because you go to the Browns, it's not going to work out, unfortunately. But, he's going to get drafted high enough. He'll make a couple $1 million, so good for him. Back with the Browns here. Let's take a look just real quick. I'm curious. Terrence Ferguson, Travis Kelce replacement, perhaps. Savion Williams would work out with the Eagles somehow. He would. Yeah. They'd do something with him. That would work. So, that's good. Andrew Makuba. I'm curious what I think about him. I don't know if either of you've gotten him yet. I don't want to learn too much before.
To watch.
Okay, cool. I don't want you to divulge too much, but that would be possibly fun for them. Giants take Cam Williams at 99. Ooh, boy. Dave Walker, fan of his. Niners here. Anthony Belton,
I love that.
And Devin Neal to the Titans. All right. Interesting pick here. Back up with the Browns. Again, live what we're doing so far with them. Now, what do you even do? Maybe you can take a flyer on a receiver. I don't watch Kyle Williams, like I said, but it feels like he's going higher than 104, but we don't have to know that right now. He's an option. Have you guys got a chance to watch Tesla from Arkansas yet?
No. Didn't know that was a person.
People love him. He was a super not productive receiver last year, but showed great flashes. I went back and watched some of him. He's got the athletic profile, but just not a whole lot of tape to really watch, unfortunately. So he's one of those guys that probably goes higher than most people think will go, but may or may not actually be able to play. So just throwing that out there. Hey, we could do the funniest thing, and we'll take Tez Johnson to this team. Watch Kenny Pickett try to hit this dude in the hands. Forget about it. He's cooked before he even gets going. No. Anyway, receiver, I don't know if I really want to do that for them. Is this where they just take a quarterback because they should?
If this is what it's looking like, all of those are going to be, or maybe not all, but some of those have to be available in the fifth.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Is there anyone there that stands out that you would want? Besides, Show would be the top for me.
Can you believe his name is Shuck instead of Show? Can you believe that?
Every time
exactly
it's where you read and you form and I read his name for a month and I just read it as Sh in my head, and now I'm just
instead he's shucking corn out there on the field with his freaking name. I don't know what that's about. Whatever.
Yeah, I like Shuck a lot because he does give he just gives me Tanner McKee vibes a little bit.
We love him.
Which
better athlete than McKee in my opinion, but I like big, tall. Really fluid passer,
Yeah, I don't know if I think McKee still had more upside, but Ewers is Ewers would probably be my pick here. Just because again, if you can make him work, he'd be a decent project for them to have just hanging out there, I guess. I don't know. I mean, again. I feel like
that's going to be him at the NFL level, is just hanging out there.
I'm going to withhold my Quinn Ewers discuss for a second. I'm just going to talk about why it would be a rough fit. The pass protection in Cleveland is not probably going to be very good. And if there's anything I know about Quinn Ewers is that there ain't a pass rush he doesn't love to run into. So to me, I fear he may die because he already got hurt in college multiple times. he might not make it out of the first 6 games he plays for the Browns, which would inevitably happen because Kenny Pickett's his only competition in that situation.
See, I think you'd sit him behind Pickett for at least a little bit, and then
Hopefully.
play out the string at the end when they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and then basically you just have him. You have him with the idea that if you don't get if you somehow end up not being able to get a quarterback next year, then you just play out an awful 2026 season with him as your quarterback, and maybe you find something with him. Maybe in 2 years he makes it work after like having a year to develop. That's kind of
that would be that would be when Watson's contract comes off too.
True.
Yeah.
And then honestly, the Browns are in a spot where they just have to punt until.
Yeah, I will say my quarterback pick here, probably, like, if I'm being realistic, Shuck would probably be the pick just because at least I think he has the tools required to be a starting quarterback. It's just, can he stay healthy, which he's never done except for this past year? Is the age thing going to be a factor that you have to worry about? Which with quarterback is less of a concern than any other position, but it's still a concern.
I think the concern more is ceiling than anything.
That's fair too, but I think he showed enough last year. I'm like, I could see a guy that is capable of, like, has the requisite talent level to be a starting quarterback, I think. But my pick here, now, this is ultimately because I do like this player more than I think consensus by a good bit. But it'd also just be really fun to watch because, he would just be ripping that thing every throw. Kyle McCord on this team would be so funny, dude.
Travis Hunter.
He'd be so – because Travis Hunter would have 70 contested catch targets this year. Like, it wouldn't, like, every single play would just be like, all right, I'm looking for Travis Hunter. He's not open. Too bad. I'm throwing it to him anyway. And sometimes Jerry Jeudy will get open on the backside, and I'll throw it to him. Like, that's literally what the offense would be. Would it be effective? Probably not. Would it be more fun to watch than any offense the Browns have fielded since, like, the Flacco end of season thing? Yes, it would be. So that would be my pick, although I know that's not going to be popular. So.
But now I'm picturing, like...
Isn't it funny though?
Just for fantasy purposes, imagine like Travis Hunter in fantasy in that offense.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. It'd be really fun.
Hunter's down there somewhere.
Boy is he. He probably caught it somehow.
He'd probably get 100 targets.
Yeah.
Minimum 100 targets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, Jake, have I convinced you? Or do you want to go somewhere else with this?
Yeah. I'm inspired by.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to really feel good about most of these. So
all right, let's do it.
I don't have any passionate feelings about any of these quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and you know what?
They're all mid to me.
That's why you got to do the thing that has the most outcomes that could be funny. Let's do it.
This isn't like your typical quarterback class where there's like these day 3 guys that I'm like, hey, this is a guy that I think could really be something. Like, I actually really like the potential. Here's there's this guy. I guess you could play him. Why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sebastian Castro, by the way, because we've got to keep track of what the Raiders are doing. That's what you just picked. Did we miss any other picks by them? I got to know now.
Yeah. Castro's one that, I don't know. I think everyone just hopes that Castro is Cooper DeJean, and he's not.
That's a tough ask. I'm not gonna lie, that's a tough ask. So Tez Johnson, dude, the Panthers. Bryce Young throwing to Tez Johnson. Oh, God, which one of them is smaller? We don't know. Oh God, Bryce Young's gonna get in the huddle and like. Tez Johnson will be like, hit me, I'm open. And he's like, I can't see you. And he's going to look at Xavier Legette and he's going to be like, what'd you say to me? I can't understand what you're saying. It's going to be the worst thing in the world. Anyway.
Is Thielen still there too?
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Thielen might still be the best receiver on that team next year.
He might be. You have to hope for Jalen Cook or people to be right. Jets are having like an all-time fun draft to me, by the way. They took Harold Fannin Jr. I love that so much. Anyway.
Miller and Harold.
Love it. Love it. Anyway, Bengals up here again. Starks, Morrison, Walker. What a trio of players there. I think at this point I'm looking offensive line for them, take some shots to help that room out a little bit. Boy, is it. Well, there's one guy I know is going to be down here.
Yep.
Yeah, that I know you're going to want to take, Dalton. So let's just note that here as an option.
He's moved down my board a little bit, but
okay.
I would really like him here.
Fair enough. I do think I want to focus on offensive line for this team because we've hit defense really heavily. They need to at least put some more bodies in that group to have a chance to hopefully hit on one of these guys. So with that in mind here, Jake, I'm going to get your thoughts on, like, of the players here, because I have the interior and offense tackles here. Anybody standing out to you? So again, Emory Jones is going to be the standout for Dalton. For me, Sacramento State.
I don't want to be that guy who just picks the guy that went to his college, but I do really like Jackson Slater.
I need to watch him. I didn't get a chance to watch him. So
I think you can get him after the 4th round though. So
yeah. So I think if I'm looking at this right, I do think that Emory Jones would be the highest player left for me too.
Okay. If you guys really didn't want to go Jones, have you guys watched Dylan Fairchild?
I have not yet. He's on my list of guys to watch.
He's a fun watch, but I still have Jones higher. But but Dylan Fairchild is a very fun watch. That is a man that plays like he hates the world.
As an offensive lineman, that's what you want to do. So I got no problems with that. And he's on my list of guys I have to get to after we finalize safeties. So
I'd be good with
that. I love all the Georgia offensive linemen. Honestly, if you just draft the Georgia offensive linemen,
don't you like Trust too?
Yeah.
Yeah, 265. Oy. Anyway, I'm good with Emory Jones, so we'll throw him to the Bengals at 119. All right, Steelers up again. Woohoo! So we got Shadur Sanders, Jamari Caldwell. Let's take a look at the running back group. And, I think off my board. Now, I need to watch ETN more. I'm starting to come around on him a little bit. I like Hunter a decent bit. But I think for what, like, especially because of the scheme fit aspect of it, I might go Tootin here, is what I might say. Because at least with him, like, you're getting the big play potential on the zone runs, and this is a team that's going to run zone a lot.
Yeah.
And he won't have to be, like, the back with Warren still there, at least for this year. He could be a long-term complement to hopefully someone you can get to be the future if Warren doesn't sign again. And they need explosive plays with this offense so badly. Like, they're lacking that so much that it's ridiculous. He at least gives you, I think, that in his own run scheme like Arthur Smith runs. So that would be probably my pick here.
Yeah, I mean,
where are you guys at with that?
ETN's probably the highest guy on my board here,
right?
But like,
and I would definitely like listen to that one because like I haven't watched enough of him to like finalize anything, but I do like him more than I thought I was going to. Because I didn't get a chance to watch him first time around. Because I didn't know if he was coming out, I think, at that point yet, so I didn't watch him. But
yeah, I didn't watch Tootin yet. I mean, if you have him graded around here, because like ETN's my highest graded guy here, and I have a 6th round grade on him.
Right. Okay.
So like,
I have an early day 3 grade on Tootin in a zone scheme like the Steelers are going to be running. Like if he like an overall probably more like a 5th, 6th round grade, but he does fit in this type of offense better than a lot of guys are going to fit it. That are left on the board, I think. But where are you at with the
Steelers?
We took Sanders and Caldwell.
I kind of like. I think the running back I'd personally be the highest on here is Brashard Smith, but I do agree that. I mean, Tootin, I think is the one I'm the 2nd highest on, and I do think he'd be better fit in Arthur Smith's offense. So,
I like Brashard Smith too, Jake. By the way,
it'd be between those two for me, I would say.
I do like Smith too. I think my concern is he going to be anything other than a pass catching weapon, realistically, long term?
Yeah, and I think for the Steelers right now, that's not really.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, in a vacuum, I think that they are probably similarly graded players overall for a lot of people, but they just do different things. So for me, I think I'm looking for that big play threat out of the backfield as a runner in a scheme like what the Steelers are running while Smith is here. I think that would make the most sense of those two. But
Yeah.
Karis, can we look at what's on the offensive line?
Sure. Yeah, let's see what.
I almost wonder, is it like, do we just try to beef up that offensive line?
You could. I mean,
I think it's a pretty solid.
You said you like Fairchild.
He could be a pretty stout guard for them, but they need more tackle, right?
I mean, ideally, long term, Jones probably isn't the guy. I don't have a single tackle here that I think is a starting caliber one long term. So, like, it'd be good depth, but yeah, I don't know if any of them are going to overtake him or be a starter, even if it's not Jones eventually. But Willie Lamb, can he play fullback? No.
I think are Dalton and Nelson gone?
I know Belton is. I think.
What about Ernest Green?
Ernest Green. He's either gone or not on the board at all.
Do they not have Ernest Green?
I don't know.
Is he not coming out?
I'm not sure. I'm not actually familiar with Ernest Green.
Georgia defensive lineman. Or Georgia tackle, I mean.
Georgia tackle?
Yeah.
Well, then no, I don't think he came out then, no. I don't remember his name being brought up at all.
I missed that.
I know some people are fans of Holland Pierce.
Yeah, he didn't come out. Huh.
There you go. I think I'm still leaning running back here ultimately.
I think it has to be. They have
Cordell Patterson and Jalen Ward and Kenneth Gainwell also fits that pass catching mode.
Don't even mention Cordell Patterson's name.
Yeah, well, he's there, so we gotta, unfortunately.
I honestly, if I'm looking at these guys, I kind of almost lean like just signing Nick Chubb at that point.
Well, maybe. The Steelers did show a little bit of interest in him, I heard, but I fear he might be cooked.
Yeah, I think
that's my fear because he was bad.
I don't know. I mean,
I know it's his first year coming off the injury.
More time to get used to it, but he didn't look good.
So, yeah, it did not look NFL caliber, unfortunately, which is really a shame. I love Nick Chubb. I hate how so many of my favorite players in the NFL over the past 10 years have come from my division rivals. I just hate that, by the way, because I don't really care that much, but when I talk about it, people are like, "You're a Steelers fan, though." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I like the sport, though, man." Do you see? If you watch me do anything on the internet, you know that I don't care. That I'm a Steelers fan. I want them to win every week. Beyond that, though, Lamar Jackson's sick as hell. I'm not going to say he's bad. What are you talking about? Get out of here. So yeah, I just throwing that out there. But Chubb is one of those guys, and it's disappointing that he's dealt with injuries the way he has, especially because it happened against the Steelers. Now everybody hates them for that, which, listen, I didn't like it either, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, I think my vote here ultimately is for Titten, though.
If you guys are good with going running back, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'd probably go Titten.
All right. Ravens up here again. So we got James Pierce Jr., Kevin Winston, and Isaiah Bond. Woo. So we got that. I think at this point, again, this team could kind of go best player available. It could go
fun player.
Yeah. Billy Bowman. I'm curious how I feel about him. Riley Leonard to be a running quarterback option if Lamar gets hurt.
I don't hate that. And
they signed Cooper Rush though to be the backup on a decent contract. True. Which is such a funny quarterback room, by the way. I did not realize that. Yeah, the Ravens signed Cooper Rush. Yeah.
If you get inside the 10, right?
Yeah,
you Riley Leonard out there instead of Lamar, protect him, and just run read option every time.
You're right. 100%. I have a question that I need to answer really quick. What is Justice Hill's contract like right now?
All right.
Because Because there's a player that I would like for them.
He signed a 2-year, $6 million contract with the Ravens when? He's signed through 2026.
Okay, so he's on the team this year and next year.
Yep.
Okay, never mind then. I don't think they need to do it. I was going to say Brashard Smith. There's like a pass catching back to pair with Henry. But if Hill's there, I don't think they need to do that. Let's see here.
JJ Pujue to be their fullback.
We love it. I could get down with that. I want to see. Yeah, what is left in the defensive interior? Not a lot. Excellent name. We love it. Thor Griffith. Oh, that's right. I didn't watch Tonka Hemingway just because I didn't get to him in time. But what an awesome name for an interior.
Tonka Hemingway.
I love it. JJ Pujue would be funny. They'd have the biggest fullback room in NFL history with him and Ricard.
Yeah.
I think I could see them taking like a linebacker in late rounds just because Simpson was so bad last year. Maybe try again with another Clemson linebacker with Carter.
I wouldn't mind.
Interesting. Could be interesting. Not Kobe King.
Wow.
Danny Stutz.
Danny
Stutz. Could do that too. Not really the type that they're probably looking for, but I think Carter would be one of my highest rated players currently on the board, I think.
Same.
He's just like he's just one of those linebackers, like good athlete, has hopefully some coverage future in him. You take him on day 3 and you hope he works out. That's kind of what I view him as. So like that would make some sense. Anyone stand out to you guys here?
I mean,
wait, can you go to who we've picked already?
Yes. So we got James Pierce Jr., Kevin Wilson Jr., Isaiah Vaughn.
I kind of like Benjamin Urosek.
But
okay.
Look at
maybe not 4th round. What do they have him at on here?
They have him 151.
150. Okay, I guess.
Mitchell Evans would be higher for me.
Yeah.
But only because I think he started to get back a little bit of juice at the end of last year. Started to look more like he did the year before, where he was going to probably be a higher pick. But tight end could make some sense for them, especially.
If we're going tight end, I kind of like Bringstool.
I wish I liked Bringstool.
Yeah.
He just feels like a light tight end that doesn't play like a light tight end to me is what it comes down to.
If we want a blocking tight end, though.
Oh, Jackson Hawes.
Hawes.
You know what? I like what you're thinking, Dalton. I like your thought process here.
Yeah.
Don't they have a tight end at this point? They have all the tight ends in the world, but they don't have Jackson Hawes.
They don't have Jackson Hawes. And Jackson Hawes, did you watch Jackson Hawes, Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Lee Smith. That's who he is. He's Lee Smith.
I see that.
This man has never seen a block he doesn't want to make with his whole heart.
He's never going to put many stats at all on the board, period.
He'll catch a pass or 2 a year,
Yeah.
Probably in the red zone when no one notices him, but
yeah. But he will be fantastic on special teams, and he will be he will be a great blocking tight end. He'll have a 10-year career in the league.
I have no notes, so I will take him if you guys want him. I will do it. I don't.
Yeah.
You don't like Bringstool?
I just think Benjamin Urosek would be so fun. He took handoffs at Stanford. I think that would be so fun on the Ravens offense. But
that's fair. Counterpoint: Patrick Ricard and Jackson Hawes in the field at the same time, with Derrick Henry running behind it. With Derrick Henry running behind it, and somehow Derrick Henry is the smallest player.
I like Hawes too. We could take Hawes if you guys want.
Yeah. My issue with Urosek is that his Georgia tape was so disappointing. I really liked him heading into this year, and then he just plummeted on my board.
I like the Georgia Titans coming into the year in general. They just didn't do anything. Now, granted, they had to deal with whatever the hell was going on with the quarterback situation. So that's part of it. But still, I think Haas would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like Haas. I just have a soft spot for tight ends that have rushing yards.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, we're
go Haas here.
Good.
Oh, they're back up again. We could just take. No, I'm not taking both. Just take it. Run it back. We're doing it again. No, I think now that we did a really, really fun pick, I don't know how to feel about this offensive line. Like, it's good they brought Ronnie Stanley back, obviously. Huge. Good for them. It just feels a little weird, and like I know that it kind of doesn't matter most of the time because again, Lamar Jackson might have the most like. I think if you were to take all of the elite traits that quarterbacks have, his ability to manipulate the pocket might be the first thing I would take if I was starting if I was creating a quarterback because it's freakish to watch. But still, like you want the offensive line to be better if you can. I don't know if you can really upgrade it at this point with who's left, but I would at least be looking there a little bit. So that's something to consider here. You know, we've really addressed a lot of like the positions that I think is the biggest needs for them. So you can kind of do whatever you want at this point. We kind of just did that obviously with the Haas pick. Where does your mind go, Dalton, you think, for them at this point? Like position, player?
I mean, I think offensive line doesn't hurt.
What's up?
Offensive line would not hurt.
Right.
For them. You could also just go, what's that?
No, I just said, yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Either that or, like, I mean, edge is a need for them. You could always just try another guy as, like, insurance. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's available there.
Well,
I did not see a single person on that edge list that I watched.
I mean, I will say Tyler Batty has the profile of someone the Ravens would go after, a big, tall edge type. Now, not saying I would do that, but that's kind of their type, I think. What do you guys think of what's the deal with Power Island? Like, what do you think? What do you think of him? I can't decide.
No idea.
I can't decide. I think the production is really cool, but I don't know if it translates at all. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. What were you gonna say though? I think when you had something you wanted to throw.
I was gonna say what's there at offensive line or.
Just throw off.
Or tackle. Nelson, I don't mind. Nelson could be, yeah. I know you.
I'm indifferent about him. I think it's cool that he might get drafted. That's about it. If you want my scouting report, it's good for him that he might play in the NFL.
My top offensive lineman period, I think, available. Is Cornelius gone?
No, he's here. That's probably who I would look at.
Yeah, Johnny Cornelius would probably be my top lineman here.
Yeah.
What about you, Jake?
Could you scroll down?
Yeah.
There's Fairchild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good with Cornelius, too. He's one of the higher ones I have here.
Yeah, I think he's either the top one left or I might be missing somebody here, but I would probably go Cornelius here.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. Okay, I wanted to die for a second. The forfeited Falcons. LOL. Imagine.
And the Niners forfeit one for?
I don't even. They did some stupid shit. Probably. I don't know.
Wait, what the Falcons do?
They they tampered with Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Which is so funny now.
For that.
Which is so funny now.
That's the funniest way to lose a draft pick.
I know. Is now they're like, yeah, you're playing for us. He's like, please let me go. I'm begging you. Let me out. Let me out of here. And they're like, no, go in the corner, Kirk.
Yeah,
we'll call you when we need you.
For them
no.
Year?
I saw that he's waiting to like waive his no trade clause until after the draft because he doesn't want to go to a team that. This is a random report, so it could be wrong, but they say he didn't want to go to a team that is gonna like draft a QB like the Falcons did.
I actually think that's a fair thing.
Probably waiting.
I could see him on the Browns, especially if they draft like how we were drafting with them.
Oh yeah, Well, yeah, because what's his face, right? What's his face was his offensive coordinator in Minnesota, right?
Oh, Stefanski? Yeah.
Stefanski, yeah.
He was, yeah.
That actually makes a ton of sense.
I have a question for you guys with the Bengals here, picking here. Who is, of this group, the highest rated linebacker you guys have?
Probably Danny Stutz.
Mm-hmm. I know for you, Jake, I think it'd be Schmelmunden Jr. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I'm high on him, but
Okay.
I do think he could be there later. I'm pretty high on Stutz too.
Okay, I could get behind that. I think they need to add somebody to that group.
Yeah.
That's why I asked, because like we're at a point in the draft where it's like, all right, let's draft guys who might have a chance to make the team either through like just need or special teams or stuff like that. So that's kind of who I was thinking of with Stutz. If not, because I haven't gotten to watch him yet, so I wanted to get your thoughts on Schmelmunden Jr. too. So
yeah, I like him a lot. I just think in real life and kind of seeing how this is going, he'll probably be there later.
Did you watch him, Dalton?
I don't know. I didn't get through
a
ton of the linebackers.
Yeah, I need to go back through a couple of them to find some guys to just have on the board. So I think in that case, I think Stutz is the only guy that we've all watched, it sounds like. So I think we should probably go with him here. But Kobe King, let's get Danny Stutz here. All right, back up with the Steelers here. What an interesting draft for the Steelers. I would like to add a receiver to this room because I think Pickens is not on the team in 2 years. Personally, not that whoever we take here is probably going to be the answer to that, but I just want to fill out that room a little bit more. Of these guys, my top guy, I think, which just sucks with Kyle Williams because I feel like I'm going to like him from what I've heard. I just have not watched him. You know what I mean? I just haven't. So I don't want to take him without watching him. I think the highest rated receiver that's on my board would be Pat Bryant. I think.
You scroll down a hair.
Yeah.
Is Prather just way down there?
Yes.
Yeah, that would probably be mine.
Okay. What do you think here, Jake, receivers wise?
I like Bryant.
Okay.
I like Prather also. Could you scroll down a little?
Yep.
Keandre Lambert-Smith.
He's a guy
I've
grown on a little bit. I'm sorry, Jake, go ahead.
I kind of like Chamari Dyke from Florida.
Okay. I've heard good stuff about him. I haven't watched him. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Roman Wilson's basically a rookie.
He is, unfortunately. I just want to fill out the room with guys who aren't Scotty Miller.
You know what? This is the 5th round, so it does make sense to take him.
Yeah. You know, like I'm just trying to take a guy that like
because Pickens is going to be gone after.
I think so too. Yeah. Now, if we're looking for like you're not finding George Pickens in the 5th round, you might not find him in any round because he's a weirdo and wins in ways that only like he ever really wins. But if you're trying to find like an outside receiver to replace him, I think Bryant brings some blocking. I think he's a good possession receiver on the outside. He can do a little bit of everything for you. He has the size to be like an X type. That's probably where I would land. But the Maryland receivers are like right in the same range as him. So like I don't really have a strong preference of either one of them, but I could still listen to them as well. Felton obviously brings more of the speed element. I think Prather's a better actual receiver. So like, you know, I think honestly I'm good for any of the guys we're talking about. So I kind of want to see where you guys ultimately want to go.
I feel like Dyke, Bryant, Prather. I feel very similarly about all three of those. So yeah, I also get on board. I would probably say it would be Bryant, Dyke, Prather would be the order for me. But
okay, what do you think?
All three of those I can be happy with.
Out of those, Prather would probably be my number one. Bryant, I think, would be a decent fit for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd probably be my top two. Or top. I mean, I also My next highest rated guy is probably Felton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Felton. I figured. I know you're a fan of the Maryland receivers a little bit.
They just take off.
They do.
I just love their get off.
Totally fair. Yeah, they could definitely make some noise. I think because Bryant is a common name for all three of us, I think that makes the most sense. So we'll throw Pat Bryant here to the Steelers. All right. Next up, the Ravens have a ton. Of course they do. They have a ton of picks. Why not? They love that.
Jesus Christ.
They got all the 6-rounders, brother. Let's pile drive through here. I actually think one of the Maryland receivers could make sense here too, even though Isaiah Bonnie draft. I think that room is just kind of very top heavy, and having some guys like Felton could be a good fit. I think is like kind of Bond was more the speedster, so maybe Prather in that case.
Yeah,
something like that. If not, start looking at kind of guys to fill out the roster a little bit. Someone I want to see go at some point soon. Kyle Malachi, like, he's not a good athlete, all this stuff. But he might be the hardest runner in the class, man. Like, I love him. I feel like he would make a lot of sense as like a backup for the Ravens. But their running back room is pretty well built out still at this point. So.
Yeah. If you were looking for like a Justice Hill replacement down the road,
right,
Woody Marks could be interesting.
For sure. I know a lot of people like him. Denzel Burke's on the board.
But if we're looking wide receiver, I do think I think the idea of a Prather here could be interesting. Just because I think he could possibly even like push Bateman pretty early on for playing time. Who Bateman's slowly coming on. It's just
he had a good season last year. Yeah, he had a good season last year. Dalton, did you catch that I told you that Denzel Burke's on the board still?
Yeah, that would probably be.
Thought you might like him at this point because we haven't taken a corner for them.
Oh yeah, that's my top pick probably.
What do you think, Jake, on Burke? Because I didn't get a chance to watch him, but
I didn't watch him as much as some of the other corners, but I liked him.
I think that one makes a lot of sense at this point. Like he's not going to go this low. I don't think.
No,
I don't think so. But we'll take him here. Back with the Browns here. So again, to recap: Hunter, Harmon, Embo, Gordon, and McCord. That's right. Love that. Honestly, I still think we keep talking about the Maryland receivers still make sense here. Like that could make some sense to fill out that room a little bit. We still haven't
gone quarterback at all, right?
McCord.
Okay,
yeah, we did go McCord.
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense. You could, I think. Let me see real quick. You could reunite the boys. You can reunite the boys with the
He's not an NFL player. If we're going tight end though, Lockie still being on the board here is kind of crazy. I didn't realize he was still available.
We could go tight end for sure.
I would have put him on the Ravens.
Well, now you can do it on the old Ravens. Wait, the new Ravens?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. They were you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, what do you think, Jake? At this point, I'm kind of down with. If someone's like, "Oh, I like that guy," I'm like, "Then correct."
You sounded much more excited about anybody than I am on.
I have a second round grade on Lockie.
Oh, that's right. I'll be honest with you. Didn't watch his ass. Didn't watch him for some reason.
Yeah, why does PFF hate like certain guys? I just don't get it.
I think didn't Lockie have major injury questions?
Oh, did he?
I think didn't he have major injury issues in college? I thought.
I don't think
he only played in 3 games in 2023. But played 12 last year. Didn't do anything, but also it's Iowa, so. Yeah. They do not like him as a grade.
He did play. He blocked for Caleb Johnson a lot.
And apparently poorly, according to them. So, but that's maybe the issue. Now, if you look at Ohio State game, I don't know. Maybe 1.12 yards per out run is a little bit funny, but that's a tight end. I'm good with it.
Yep. I think he's a guy that makes sense in the NFL.
Oh, the Ravens are back up. I'm gonna start pointing and clicking for this team. What the hell are they doing?
How do they have 5 more picks?
They love it. They love how, you know what, this time now we'll take one of the Maryland receivers. I think Prather's. Wait, is Prather? Yeah, Prather's here.
Yeah.
Probably Prather.
Yeah.
Like that. Back up with the Steelers. Love it. We got Shadur Sanders, Jamari Caldwell, Bashal Tootin, Pat Bryant, and who's next? Let's find out.
This Pitt guy just because he's a Pitt guy.
No, we don't need Pitt players. If I have anything to say about it, at this point, ooh, Shadur Sanders, get him out of here.
Question is, this is gonna sound silly though, I know because we've shit on him a lot, but is Kobe King available?
I actually don't hate it
as an Landon Roberts replacement.
I don't hate it. He unfortunately he is
off
not.
the board. That actually would have made. That's probably the situation where he actually makes the most sense.
Man, PF hates Nick Martin. Holy shit, I like Nick Martin a little bit. Oh no, Sean Dolak. Have you guys watched Sean Dolak?
No.
Out of Buffalo? You need to watch Sean Dolak. I completely forgot about it. He would have gone earlier than this if it was me. This dude fucking rocks. Oh my god. You guys need to watch Sean Dolak.
I will watch him live right now.
You need, literally watch Sean Dolak. Jake, have you watched Sean Dolak?
No, I'll look him up on Twitter right now.
Oh my god. I forgot about Sean. I watched him after the linebacker episode. I forgot to mention it to you guys.
Okay, he's not on Caddy's Cut Ups.
He's not. He's not on that, unfortunately. But just you'll get the gist just watching the highlights. Honestly, like obviously we are not a highlight watching scouting channel just for make sure everyone understands that. But for them to understand what I'm talking about, it'll be enough for them to know. Yeah, like he's going to be the pick here. By the way, I can promise you that.
The first clip is a 70-yard interception.
Yes. And a freaky one at that.
Oh, I got my sound on. Oops. Yeah, I'm good with it.
I got Jake. We're good.
He's fun to watch. But yeah, I feel like at this point, if one of you guys is like really confident.
Oh yeah, listen.
I'm good with it.
He might be the most underrated player in the draft at this point to me. Because it was in the 4.5s.
Okay, that's acceptable.
And that's exactly why I'm like, people are going to start. I think people are going to start figuring this out like near the end of the draft process, because like production out like through the roof, unbelievable production, coverage ability, whole 9 yards. It was just like, well, is he a good athlete? Because he's with Buffalo, ran like in the 4.5s this pro day. Yeah, get out of here. I completely forgot that he was going to be so low on here.
And PFF has made it said no one's paying attention to him.
Literally 91.9 grade in 2024, and they have him in the 300s. Look at the coverage grade. Tied for second coverage stops in all of FBS. Yeah. 5 interceptions. Get out of here. PFF, you're lying to your own self.
And meanwhile, the only game now he played, he had a low grade against Missouri, but my guess is he probably covered Luther Burden for a lot of that game.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
So that would make sense why a linebacker has a 57.5 PFF grade that game if he's being asked to run with Luther Burden.
No analysis. Yeah, now here's a guy my ass, PFF. Get him out of here. Yeah, welcome to the team. You guys won't even know who Patrick Queen is in 3 months. If we no, I'm just kidding.
Tinfoil hat time.
Oh boy!
Do you guys think like their GMs are definitely like for especially like day 3 guys? GMs are definitely like paying off the PFF guys to like tank certain guys in stock.
You know
what? Absolutely.
I'm gonna let you have that one. I'm not gonna argue that at all. I'm not gonna argue with you whatsoever. I think By the way, for me with the Browns, I'd like to add a receiver to this room because we didn't do that last time because Lockie was there. I kind of like Keandre Lambert-Smith. I was surprised by how much I liked him as like just a pure like vertical receiver type. Not sure how much more he's going to do besides that, but I like him for that role.
Hard to know what he's going to be because obviously Auburn was not a great situation, and then Penn State before that is the land where wide receivers go to die.
19, almost 20 yards a catch at Auburn. Like he's going to have, I think, the ability to at least give Cleveland like a vertical threat potentially. Like obviously Hunter, if he's playing receiver, he's a vertical threat in certain ways, but it's more of the like I'm just going to moss you down the field and pure just like run by you type of guy. Lambert-Smith, I think, could be that type of like change up. Kind of what they were hoping they would get. This is kind of a few years ago, but Anthony Schwartz, who he also maybe at Auburn? I forget. But he, like that type of just pure like deep threat type of guy, I think could be a good fit for them at this point in the draft. You also do like a Dante Thornton Jr. if you like him more. He's more of the size speed guy, but not much of an actual like receiver because it's Tennessee. And they run the most goofy offense of all time. But I would say one of those types of guys here probably for me.
Yeah, I'm on board with anything at this point.
It's like, yeah, just pick somebody, Shayne. No, anyway, Jake, any thoughts here? I'm gonna go Lambert-Smith. So that's me here. Now we got the Bengals right here again. I'm gonna hand it off to you guys. When it was anybody, I'm just gonna kind of go through here. Anybody standing out for you?
Who's the Bengals' backup quarterback right now?
Jake Browning still.
Browning,
Okay.
yeah.
I think immediately is probably a better quarterback than Jake Browning, honestly.
I'm down with it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Tyler
Shayne
Shuck is gonna.
I feel like it's pretty good.
He's gonna. I'm pretty confident he's gonna go early on day 2. By the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Which
too.
is really funny.
Really funny, yeah.
Thanks to
Man,
Lewis.
why do the Browns also have 1 million 6th-round picks? What are we? I chose to do the 7th round because I was like, this will be fun. I forgot apparently every team except for the Steelers has 12 picks.
We're making every pick from like 190 to 260.
I know.
You know what? Cool.
These
There's a
just all
trade.
the
Someone
picks.
wants to trade.
Yeah.
All right, Giants. What player do you want on the board? Samuel Brown. Get out of here.
Brady.
Dylan Fairchild?
There's no way Brady Cook gets drafted, right?
No, but hey, maybe to play.
Wait, go to QBs.
Yeah, just curious.
I have an idea. Seth Hennigan.
Oh, is it because you just did a profile on him?
I just
Jake?
did a profile on him.
Yeah, I saw it.
Very. Look.
No, I don't.
He's a good QB.
I'm not criticizing the player.
There are
at all,
some
Jake. I just think it's
serious
funny that I saw
but-
that you did that, and the reason is very funny. I will tell you later. But anyway, I mean,
Yeah, that's probably the QB.
Kyle McCord and Seth Hennigan.
Oh, we did take Kyle McCord.
That's the quarterback options for the Browns.
I guess we don't need a QB that bad.
Is DJ Uyagale like seriously trying to play quarterback in the NFL?
I don't know, but he's apparently 91 in the ADP according to this. But
That's
not
hilarious.
True. That's not true. This is messed up. But
he has to be a tight end.
Yeah, a tight end. But I'm not drafting him to play tight end. He can come to camp, compete. Do we want to, honestly, just because of the strength of the class being here, do we want to throw another running back in this room?
Yeah.
Jordan James.
Woody Marks, maybe.
Woody Marks
Jordan James, I think, is higher on my board.
LaQuint Allen is a pass, like one of those guys, because those are both pass catching backs with Marks and Allen to me, which could make some sense to them for sure.
Yeah, James would be kind of a steal here.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you just want to go straight, just talent, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, I have James higher than Scatterbo on my board.
Well, there's that. Yeah, two teams want to trade for the Raiders. Anyway,
Raiders probably gonna make a terrible.
The Ravens again
as bad
here.
as we could do trading for a 6th-round pick.
They're not going to make all these picks, right?
There's no way.
Screw it, we're doing it anyway. I don't know. Ty Robinson, he kind of feels like a player for them. Kind of this like tweener size, like. Well, it says 310. He's not 310. If upgrade or update your weights and heights, bro. Come on, we literally have the numbers.
Curtis Rourke to back up.
To back up Cooper Rush, who's backing up Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. To back up Cooper Rush, backing up Lamar Jackson. I love it.
It's just
Lamar Jackson and just two random dudes.
Two random whites. We love it. I think actually Dylan Fairchild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's pretty good value for.
Boom. Did it. Are we still picking for the Ravens now? Yeah, we're still picking for. Oh, all right. How many players did they lose last year in free agency? How many mid contracts? Whatever. Now at this point we're just going to the strength of the class. We're just going to take a running back again. Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders, maybe he'd be downhill running back.
He's a lot of fun in the TA-25.
He is. You're right. I agree. Donovan Edwards, had the mighty have fallen.
Ooh, Ulysses Bentley would be kind of fun.
I can't say that I've watched him. Also, apparently he's 16. So.
16. Yeah. He's a very small, like, extremely fast running back.
Small.
I actually don't know his size, but he looks small.
5'10", 200 pounds.
I doubt it.
I'm surprised that he's 200 pounds.
He has 84 rushing attempts, so.
I just think he'd be a fun guy in their offense. He's very much open.
I think Marks has a lot of like sleeper potential, especially because he converted to the position late.
Sleeper, you say?
Yeah.
The Ravens again.
Let's just Jimmy Horn Jr. Man, is this what it's like to be a GM of a team? No.
Just take Jackson Slater.
You know what, Jake?
Sure. He's going to be good.
I'm
not just saying that because he went to my school.
Browns.
Doing it.
216. We're almost the 7th round, fellas.
Oh, my God. This is awful.
Hey, you know what? We got to have one absolutely chaos live stream at some point during this draft. We haven't quite had that yet, I don't think. What position haven't we attacked? You know what? Oh God. Fadil Diggs ran fast at the combine. Some people like him.
Why does Johnny Walker Jr. play somewhere else last year? The name sounds familiar, but I don't remember him playing for Missouri.
Unclear. There's no analysis. They don't like him. I'm not sure. Who is that?
It sounds like a familiar guy.
Are we talking? Well, there's Johnny Walker. Isn't that like a whiskey or something?
No, like there was like another player named Johnny Walker.
I was just messing with you, Dalton. I know.
David Walker Jr. is another.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, he's not a junior, is he? I think that's somebody else.
No, he's just David Walker. Yeah. Hey, speaking of junior,
I can't think of it anymore.
Shmael Mondon Jr. Jake, you like him?
I like him. I would definitely take him in the 6th round.
So. Should we go with Dumbass Johnson?
Yeah, we should. That guy must have had a hard time in school.
Hey, dumbass.
What? What's going on? No, I'm gonna take Shmael Mondon Jr.
Could just go by
Steelers. Yeah, I would. We're back up with the Steelers here. How many of the remaining picks are our picks? This one. This one. We only got 3 more picks, I think, guys. I think we got this. I think we're gonna survive. I'm not gonna promise though. Somehow the Steelers only need 5 picks. I hate this team so much. Anyway, last pick for them.
If it makes you feel better next year, they're going to look like the Ravens did.
It's true because they're going to have like 12 comp pick. Well, however many you're allowed to have because they just hemorrhaged players. Thank you, Dan Moore Jr. Sorry, Titans.
$80 million Dan Moore Jr.
You know what? They said they want 4 quarterbacks in this room. They would have 3 with Shedeur Sanders because Skylar Thompson isn't real.
Max Brosmer, just watching him play against Penn State, does have that dog in him.
Max Brosmer not only does he have that dog in him, I think if the field was 20 yards long, I think Max Brosmer would be the best quarterback in the draft.
I love that. I think the field was 20 yards long.
He'd be the best Arena League player of all time. He would be putting up Kurt Warner prime numbers in the Arena League. So you know what? That's good enough for me. I'll take him here just to have a 4th quarterback. That's real.
But you don't want to watch. You don't want to potentially have to watch Graham Mertz more.
No. Listen, man. I was like, good for him. He's gonna go to Florida. They need somebody, and then they were like, no, actually, we don't.
Kyron Lacey in the 7th round. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure what did he do to somebody? He did something to somebody.
Bad.
Something bad. Yeah. He did something that a bad person would do.
Yeah.
Man, the Ravens don't need all these players. God damn it. Who's the funniest player we could take from that's sort of real? Hunter Wooler is like definitely a special teamer. For sure. He's going to play special teams for somebody. I don't know if he'll do anything other than that.
Let's do it.
Sure. And what I think the draft is trying to die every single time we make a pick. It's very funny. People, this is clearly not made for people to actually do 7-round mocks like with more than one team because every time I click next pick or like I draft a player, it tries to die. It like sputters. Yeah, like sputters out, and my internet's fine, so it's not my internet's fault.
It's the simulator saying "kill me."
Literally, it's like you guys are still here. What are you doing? The best player left on the board apparently is Kanata Mumfield. Can't say.
Who is that? That a real person?
Yeah, it is apparently. I watched a little bit of Mac McWilliams. Yeah, that's very true. I kind of like Mac McWilliams a little bit. He's definitely undersized, and not the best athlete in the world, but he's gritty.
Worst case scenario, he goes and plays in the NBA G League.
You're right. Nice.
Sounds a lot like Mac McClaw.
Yeah, it's close.
That's where we're at with picks.
Who's the worst player according to
like
this hunter? The best real player apparently is Purdue's Gus Hartwick.
The lowest ranked real human being player that's not
like not a punter or kicker. Why did they bother like ranking these guys if they're just going to throw them at the end for like whatever? Anyway, if we're going
we add a third running back here because they have so few good ones.
I mean, I like Rocket Sanders.
Yeah. The whole throw shit at the wall, see what sticks mentality. It's a lot of shit.
Oops, that play isn't in our playbook just yet. If you wanted to know how the first round went, let's take a look at this real quick. We didn't spend a lot of time. Let's see what the stupidest thing we can see here is. I think taking Mason Graham over. Abdul Carter went ahead of him. I still don't love Graham in the top 10.
I'd still take Will Campbell there.
Yeah, I'd take Will Campbell for sure.
Or
I'd take Membu at this point. I don't care. At least he can play a position that's like super like dead for them at this point. Janae Barron going at 7 was fun.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren to the Bears is still funny. Sorry, go ahead, Dalton.
Jets low-key had a good draft.
They did. I like their draft a lot.
The Broncos is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Sanders to the Steelers, I think would be that's about as ideal of a first round as you could possibly get for the Steelers. I know you guys disagree. I think that's.
I more disagree because of the Steelers, not so much because of Shitter Sanders. So it's not really.
Yeah.
It's.
I would take Sanders at 2 for the right team. So it's not a Shitter thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but. Well, for any of you who somehow would have seen this at this point, we've made it to the end, and I feel like I trapped these two, unfortunately, in this against their will, because I forgot to check and make sure that the teams we were choosing didn't have all of the day 3 picks in the draft, and unfortunately, I was wrong.
AFC North is going to own day 3,
except for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch day 3, which I love day 3 of the draft, to be clear. I very much enjoy it. But the fact that every team that is in my division, except for my own, is going to be dominating, it's going to make me upset. I promise you that. Because the Ravens are going to take some dude in the 6th round and be like, I like that guy, though. What are you doing, Steelers? Why, that's what's going to happen. We know this. But any final thoughts on that massive undertaking, fellas? Anything you want to throw out there?
The Ravens.
No, that's fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
I like being able to. Sorry, Dalton.
No, you're good. You can go.
I was just gonna say I like being able to pick guys lower on the board because we usually don't go past.
Yeah, we don't get to talk about it.
I love just being in round 6 and seeing a guy that I really like.
Afton Chisholm.
Yeah, it was interesting to see just how many picks the Ravens have, and it just goes to show it's like that team is still very, very good. And they have 1 million picks. And you know what? They're going to get they're going to use some of those late picks to get some really quality players.
Yeah, undoubtedly so with the Ravens, unfortunately, for me at least. But, no, but that'll do it for us this week. Next week, we will be doing our final player rankings episode with the safeties, and then we'll be finalizing our boards across the board here. We will be talking in our final episode before the draft. We will be, of course, as I've mentioned before, live during the first round, Jake and I. And we have some guests that I need to tell you guys about, by the way, that I have secured for that. So we'll talk about that later. But the last episode before the draft, though, we'll be doing a predictive mock because we don't really do that. We haven't really done that throughout the year just because it's kind of, to me, an exercise that's futile for the most part. It's more fun to talk about what we would do. But we'll do one productive mock, and then we will then talk about, as the final topic, our top 50 boards and our cumulative top 50 board. We'll talk about that in that final episode as well. So if that's all you guys wanted to throw out there, anything else you wanted to mention or anything, either of you?
I'm good.
Safety's going to be interesting.
I think so. I have not gotten into it too much yet just because I've been busy running an NFL team site for a certain website. I don't know if I want to talk about it here necessarily. Point is, I've been very busy, but I will find the time to watch the safeties for this week coming up. But that'll do it for us this week, guys.